Shalom, welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Chabad House of Delmar, together with my co-host, Mark Ronich, statewide news service, jbiztechvalley.com. And as you can see here, now columnist for the Jewish Press.
Right, and I'm having a lot of fun doing all three things and keeping very busy. And my column in the Jewish Press is called Albany Beat, and I talk about how government relates to the Jewish community, or doesn't, as the case may be. But one of the things that does relate to the Jewish community that's not so much government are the arts. And with us today is Maggie Mancinelli-Cahill, the producing artistic director for CapRep, Capital Repertory Theater.
That's right, all right, all correct.
Back to the Jewish View.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for inviting me back.
So what's new and exciting over at CapRep?
What's new? Well, today the cast of A Night with Janis Joplin is rehearsing. I just left them off to come over here and be with you wonderful gentlemen.
Someone singing like Janis Joplin, someone to imitate her voice.
Oh, yes,
yes, so unique.
Yes, very unique, and it's a really, really rock and roll show. And so there's 8 musicians over there with her, and 4 singers, and 2 actresses who are cast as Janis Joplin. So that's what's rocking in our world right now.
How long does a show like that last in Capital Rep?
Oh, well, this one opens. Opens on July 8th, and it runs through August 7th, and so our shows run about a month. Yeah, yes.
And where do they stay? Where does the cast stay when they're here?
Well, you know, there's a lot of people involved with Janis Joplin, but our normal casts all live in apartments that we are required to furnish through our union. And most of our casts come in from New York City, you know, and so they come to Albany and they live here anywhere between 12 and 14 weeks at a time. And we have to house them in downtown within a certain distance of the theater. It's all part of our union obligations.
But some of the artists or the actor and actresses, I mean, they don't stay for a month, meaning they do a few shows at a time? I mean, you say for 12 weeks,
no,
but the show is only 4 weeks.
They have to rehearse. They have to, so they're here during a rehearsal period, and then they're here when
for the show. How long is the rehearsal? Sure. How many weeks do you rehearse?
Well, it varies. It varies anywhere between, for Janis Joplin, it's only 2 weeks, because some of the people have done it before, but for other shows, it's anywhere between 4.5 weeks, plus, you know, plus the run of the show. Sure.
That's a lot.
So, yeah.
So do you, well, what are the other shows that are coming up in this
We have a great
season?
Well, we have a great season. We open in the fall with a play called Outside Mullingar, and then we go into holidays with Camelot, the very famous musical.
That first one is original, because I never heard of it.
No,
Not that
it's
I know
not.
so much about plays. But.
Actually, it was a hit on Broadway. Yeah, it was written by a guy named John Patrick Shanley. He's won a Pulitzer Prize, and this is a romantic comedy about a bachelor farmer, not a father. Bachelor farmer, bachelor farmer, and the woman who lives next door to him that's been in love with him her whole life. And it has a happy ending, so you know I like it. I'm a sucker for happy
You don't have to give it away
know?
now.
No.
But do you have the same staff as Broadway? I mean, you say it was on Broadway. The same staff comes here, the actor and actresses?
No. When regional theaters, you know, after a play closes on Broadway, then it can become available for regional theaters like Capital Rep. And we cast it with professional actors. You know, the actors for Outside Mullingar will come from New York, and they'll come to Albany, and they'll be here, and we'll rehearse it, and we'll build the set and build the costumes and all of those things.
You don't use the same things? You can't just take from New York and use...
No.
Why not? It would be efficient, wouldn't it?
Oh, you know, you would think so, wouldn't
but
you?
The unions get involved.
The unions are very involved with that kind of thing. So we build most of the sets that we do, we build them from the ground up. We have a full carpentry shop, we have a full costume shop and properties shop, and we have people who are on our staff year-round who do all of those things that are artisans in the theater. So somebody's parents are very happy for the Capital Rep jobs, because, you know, your child comes home from college and says, well, guess what, I want to be a theater major. And you might want to tear your hair out, but instead we give them jobs. And so I'm always very happy about that.
And the salary level, obviously equity or not equity?
No, we're an equity theater, so our actors are all paid, and that's all regulated by the union and those kind of things. And our staff is all paid.
What are the union rates?
Well, I'm not going to tell you that.
Oh,
that's
I thought
you
that's
know.
public.
Well, you know, they range anywhere from a little under $700 a week to a little over $1,500 a week. It depends who you are and what you're doing. No.
The world, you know.
Once you,
I could say. You
once
know.
you're talking about money, can you talk about the budget? I mean, how much, it must cost a lot of money to put on, and how much, you know, how much is theater
about
tickets?
the shows first, so there's more than just
So
one
we should
show.
talk about the shows and then how much they
money,
cost?
yeah,
Yeah, that's
right.
a good
Well,
idea. I
that's
like
money
that.
at the end.
Okay, so you have Outside Mullinger, which the preview starts September 23rd.
Yes, and then
27th.
then our holiday show is Camelot,
A
the
holiday
musical.
Rosh Hashanah?
Yeah.
Yes, but not Rosh Hashanah, but yeah, Rosh Hashanah. No, I was thinking about
The high holidays.
no, the high holidays.
but
I was
you
thinking
have-
about Hanukkah. You know,
Okay.
I might probably fall on that one.
Hanukkah comes out exactly during
You
Christmas
know,
this
during-
year.
At the
So
end
there
of-
you go.
At
Exactly.
the end of October, you have pretty much the best comedy show at the Rep.
You know, this year we did 3 comedy shows.
Yeah.
And so on nights when we don't have a play, we've been bringing in guest artists who do comedy on the shows. And there were 3 of them last year. And we're going to do, I think we're doing 2 this fall. So yeah, that's
These
right.
are local
Very
people
good.
again?
No, they vary. The guy who puts these shows together, usually the headliner is usually somebody that you know you've seen on television or something, and then the people who come before him. That's how they do it in comedy. You know, they have a couple of opening acts, and they're usually from around here. They're up and comers that you know are on their way up.
Well, we have a lot of talent in this area.
We
so,
do.
yes,
we do have a lot of talent. Yeah.
And so you, and some of them are from Comedy Central, you know, some of the comedians.
Yeah,
you
the,
know. So do you find it daunting that you're now competing, not with just the Comedy Works, but with the Funny Bone at Crossgates and other
Well, you know,
venues,
this
or?
is something I don't worry too much
You
about.
don't?
You know,
Okay.
the young producer who is in charge of doing these comedy
Right.
evenings at Capitol Rep, he's confident that, you know, this is a good way to diversify the audience, and he's good at packing the house a few times a
Okay.
year, so I'm happy.
How
you
big
know.
is the house once you mentioned that?
300
That's
seats.
a quaint.
Yeah,
you know,
it's an
quaint.
intimate, we like to
Intimate,
say,
yeah.
this space.
Not a
yeah.
bad seat in the house.
That's correct. That's right. That's right. Yeah,
And
that's right.
and then you said, okay, Camelot,
Yeah, then Camelot.
and then Reluctant Wingman.
Well, yes, and it has a new title. I
Oh.
should tell you that this is a world premiere, and it's written by a gentleman named Bob Morris. And Bob Morris is a columnist for the New York Times Styles magazine. He's a great guy. And this play has now been retitled Assistant Loving, Dating with My Dad.
Uh-huh.
And the reason is because he wrote a memoir. You know, Bob Morris is a really sweet guy, and he and his father, when his mom died, he and his father weren't that close. And after his mother died, his father was of a certain age, I think he was in his 80s, and he wanted to find companionship again, you know, and so he asked his son to help him computer date.
Uh-huh.
You know, how could he, you know, and...
Watch out, Grindr.
Yeah, so he's not on that. But, you know, what's the Jewish dating
J-Date.
site? Yeah, J-Date. They go on J-Date.
they
That's
do?
one of them
Really?
that they mention, yeah.
Oh.
Because the father and son, they're both, you know, it's a Jewish family. So anyway, so the father and son, the father says, I need your help, but I'm worried about you too, and I want you to be happy. So I want you to date when I'm dating. And so they go on an adventure.
Wow.
And it's a very, very sweet play. I'm really quite in love with it. And it was read in our Next Act New Play Festival, where we read a whole bunch of new plays.
When you say we, who is picking out these plays for the year? I mean, like that. in
Well,
the play.
I picked the season. The 6 plays that are a part of our main season are I picked those. For our new play festival, it's funny that you mentioned that, because this morning I came from a meeting where we had 12 of our readers sitting around, and we are starting to the process of sorting through the plays that are submitted for our new play festival. Now, when I say sorting through, we had 425 plays submitted to us.
Oh, wow.
So we have a reading circle of between 12 and 16 people who help us read all those plays, and then it's kind of like a contest. We read the top 3 in a public setting, and then we talk to our audiences about what they think and all of that. So Assisted Loving, we read last year, and it was a big success for our audiences who all said, you have to do that play. And it's a very funny and very life-embracing play.
How does someone know about these, to be part of this type of an audience?
Well, you read about it in the paper.
Really?
Because, yeah,
I'd
you
love
know.
to be a part of
Oh, well,
great.
it's very, very fun. We do it this year, next act, all of the festivities take place between October 21st and October 24th. And we'll do, I think, 5 different activities during that time. And it's a lot of fun. Some of them happen up at Proctor's, and some of them happen at Capitol Rep. We vary the scheduling, you know, depending on what we're doing.
And I was going to get to that in a little bit, because the next one you have after the renamed Reluctant Wingman was Iliad.
Yes,
so you
and
have
Iliad.
Odyssey and Iliad and Homer, and so it's a very high level. That's a very a high level type of play in terms of understanding.
Well, you know, it's a modern adaptation. So the language it's a modern rendition of it, but
it's not the original Greek. Is what
it's
you're
not
saying.
the original Greek. Thank goodness, right? So it's presented by one actor and a cellist. And it is probably one of the most powerful evenings of theater you will really ever encounter. And the actor who does it is unbelievable. His name is Timothy Needhan. He's one of the favorites of Capitol Rep, and I don't like to use this word. I don't like to use the word brilliant, but in this particular piece,
it fits.
He comes very close.
And with that type of play, the diction is very important. You have to clip your T's and
and he's British, and he has that British background, so he really can spit it out so that you understand every word.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. Otherwise, you really lose the flow, and you lose a lot of the intention.
Yeah, I agree with you.
What that's supposed to be.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's fascinating. I remember my junior high school and high school days reading that.
It's true. Well, and in this modern translation, the cellist is very important because, and it's an original score that's mixed with classical music and all kind of other things, and the cellist and the actor work together so that the whole piece is actually scored with the cello underneath it. It's really, it's an exceptional piece of theater.
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
okay,
I'm excited about that one.
Some
yeah,
real culture. It's great.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Then, now, this is the next one. Is a cope. You're having some of this at CapRep and some at Proctor's. Is Beautiful, the Carole King musical, and I'm a big fan of this, and I want to come see it. I don't care if it's at Proctor's or the Rep.
Yeah,
I just think this is a great play, and I'm glad that it's just not in Schenectady. It's also coming to Albany too.
Well, this will not be coming to Albany for a long time. This is in Schenectady. You've got to go to Schenectady to see Beautiful.
Because Philip Morris was on the show, and he said that there were 2 performances, I thought, that were going to be at CapRep.
No. Oh, no. It's way too big of a show for us to do on our stage. No, believe me.
Okay. I stand corrected.
So I apologize for that, but I am telling you, I'm sorry, Philip, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. No.
Unless I misunderstood, okay.
He's my boss, so I hate to tell him he's wrong.
No,
I mean, I'm sure that.
And I might be wrong, so go ahead. Let's just move on.
Well, we decided. Look, Proctor's and Capitol Rep are affiliates, and we decided that it was time for our audiences to mix, to cross the divide. I really would love to produce Carole King's musical. I'd love to produce Beautiful. You know, because I told you, we build them from the ground up and we cast them, and those are uniquely our productions. But this is going to run on Broadway for a very, very long time. And the way it works in our world is if something is running on Broadway, we can't do it. We can't get the performance rights for that.
Why can Proctor's get the performance rights?
Because they are a big Broadway presenter. So they can take it in and do it for 1 week in their big theater, which has 2,300 seats. We have 300 seats. They have 2,300 seats. And so they can do it for 1 week, and then it moves on to another big city.
Well, I got an idea. Why don't you simulcast it so while it's being played there, you can fill up your 300-seat theater and you could watch it on the big screen.
I'm afraid the Broadway producers would have something to say about that. They
wouldn't be polite.
They do not allow that.
They don't allow
You know, a lot of times people say to me, why don't you simulcast, you know, your plays for people who can't get down to the theater? And the Actors Union will not let you do that. You know, there's such a difference between having to be in the theater and see a performance and having it recorded for all time, and they feel that that's part of, you know, an actor's, what do you call that?
I understand part of their intellectual property.
Yeah, their intellectual property, yeah.
So, and I understand
very good,
that
Mark.
part. But I just wanted to...
Maybe you should be a lawyer.
Maybe you should come into my world a little bit, yeah.
I've been there, done that. No, but I just wanted to just let you know that, you know, you don't have to record it if it's simulcast. It doesn't have to be recorded.
No, that's true. But there's still, Actors Equity is still not on that bandwagon.
You know, that's such a shame.
I know, really right?
Just because they also, as an union, they promote how they want to reach out more to people, but then they put up these roadblocks that prevent that.
Well, they still, well, you know, they probably do it for, you know, a lot of money, but they haven't worked out how to do that yet. You know, people, because we are such a people-intensive industry, there are certain things about our world of theater and live entertainment that are just figuring out how they're going to deal with things like web series and being on the web and your image on computer, and what does it mean for an actor when they can, you know, take your head and put it on another person's body? You know, I mean, these are the things that are all now possible.
Right.
I mean, I remember years ago when John Wayne had passed away long ago, and I was watching a Pepsi commercial, and John Wayne was in, and how could John Wayne be in it? And of course, it was one of the first times when they took somebody's image and superimposed it into something else. You know?
Even just in radio and audio, you know, I have this program called Adobe Audition, and you could take you can stretch out the rhythm where you can slice out the word "not," and you won't even know that it was there, and you could just have someone turning a negative phrase into a positive phrase without ever realizing.
That's very scary.
And my friends saw me do this, and they said, I'm never believing anything that I'd listened to on radio.
Again,
I said they
right?
do it on TV also. So, you know, they can crop things and edit things with very sophisticated equipment that you wouldn't know was changed.
Right.
And it's just amazing.
That's why you got to see a live performance. That's
You've got to see a live. You've got to be there.
Let me ask you, how
you're
long?
going to go see Beautiful in Proctor's?
Of course. Oh, yeah, of course.
You have an in?
Well, all of our subscribers, Beautiful is part of that show, and I intend to be there every night to greet our subscribers to make sure that I do. I mean, because I think there are only 7 performances of Beautiful, and I feel like it's very important for me to make our subscribers of Capital Rep comfortable up at Proctor's, and vice versa, because the Proctor subscribers all are coming to see one show of ours. So it's a real cross-blending, and it's for the first time we've ever done it.
Oh, that's
And I'm
good.
hoping people like it.
Okay.
You know, that's
So
our
which
hope.
which one is getting the reverse treatment?
You can pick it.
Oh, you could pick whatever you
Yeah,
want.
so if you're a
Okay.
subscriber, you can pick the one that appealed to you.
I have one more play. Which Way is Home? Is
Which Way is Home? All right, now Which Way is Home
It's
was
that
a
way.
show that we did. We just did that. We just did that this spring. And Which Way is Home was a play that was created by high school students about their experience of being immigrants.
Oh, wow.
And it was a wonderful, wonderful theater piece that was all the students' experience, and then they took film crews into and talked to the parents of the kids, you know, of the students. And so it was a multi-generational, multimedia theater piece that was made. And so we normally do these once every other year. So next year we'll lay the groundwork at the school, and then the next year we'll perform one of those
Well, that
again.
brings me to my next topic, which is CAST and Cultivating Arts and Students Together.
Yes.
Which is something, the
I do.
school that you put together at CapRep.
Well, you know, our school programs make up a great deal of what we do. And you asked me what our budget
Yeah,
was,
well,
all
getting
right?
around,
All
yeah, I
right?
told
And
you we'd
so
come back to
our
it.
annual budget at Capital Rep is $2.3 million, all
That's why.
right?
Not really.
And yeah, I wish it were more, but
Yeah.
it's $2.3 million. And our education programs are about $200,000 of that. And our education programs are very, very important to what we do in terms of our core mission. So we have an artist residency at Albany High School, and we have a series of plays that we do where we go right into the classrooms and they match curriculum. Next year we'll be doing, we do a literary one based on Edgar Allan Poe, but our two spring ones next season are about women's suffrage. It's called Petticoats of Steel, and that will match the 100th year anniversary of women's suffrage in this country. And the second one is They Built America. That's the story of the workers of the Erie Canal, and New York is celebrating the bicentennial anniversary of the opening of the Erie Canal. So these pieces match, you know, celebrations that are going on a statewide
Historical,
basis.
yeah.
And they are historically based in research with historians. And for us to do one of these shows, we have to research it for about 2 years, and then
Really? That much?
we write it. Oh yeah, you know, because it has to be vetted. I mean, there's big time historians in New
Sure.
York State. We have such a proud history of
Well, also,
American history. You know,
we had
It's
Tony
amazing.
Opalka on the show. He's
Oh,
the Albany
yeah.
city historian. so
Yes.
we learned a lot from
You
him.
learn, you know, so much. Yeah, we learned a lot. I remember we do one show that's about Henry Hudson, and I learned so much about, you know, the history
The
of
Half
the
Moon.
real history of Albany, you know, and it was fascinating. just
You make your
fascinating.
budget though? I mean, the 3.3 million?
Yeah,
How much
and,
is
you know, it's hard.
tickets?
It's
For
arduous.
300, I would think so, because 300 seats doesn't really
Yeah, it's a funny
Well,
thing.
add up.
Well,
Corporate sponsorship is they're very
Sponsorship,
generous.
sponsorship and our annual fund. You know, the truth is that we're a not-for-profit theater. We're not a for-profit theater.
Right.
And the way that we're set up, we have a national network. Across the United States, there's 73 theaters like Capital Rep, and we're all set up. 50% of our budgets are ticket sales and 50% are contributed income. So every year we have to raise, what is that, $1.5 million that supplements our ticket sales. And why? Because when we do a play, let's say like Camelot will be a very popular play. It'll be an expensive play too, but it'll be very popular. But I can only run that show, because we do a season of plays, I can only run that show 4 weeks. Well, on Broadway, the way you pay off your show is you run it for 10 years. But we are, you know, our charter is that we do something every 4 weeks. We do a variety. We appeal to the, you know, the community base of our communities that are, you know, diverse, ethnically diverse, culturally diverse. And so in order to have that kind of a potpourri and scope of programs, you have to do 50% of everything that you do has to come from contributed
So
income.
we have a very generous, I mean, the banks and the law firms, and you have a very good board.
Yes, I do. I
You know.
love my board.
So they
I do.
probably wring a few bells and help you with
Well,
this.
you know, first of
Cha-ching,
all, to
cha-ching.
be on a board, now, do you have a board? Do you have a board here
We have
for
a
this
PEG
show or anything?
A PEG Access Oversight Board.
Ah, okay,
And
all right.
I'm the vice chair of that board.
Oh, you are, okay. Oh, well, you have it in, because here you are and then you're on the board. Okay, well, I'm not on my board, but I
Well, usually
serve.
paid staff is not on the board. Usually paid
Yeah,
staff
we're not,
is.
yeah, we're not on the
Right.
board, yeah.
You know,
Philip's
when I
not
would-
on his board, you know.
When I was at the Albany Jewish Community Center as the membership and marketing director, I presented to the board, you know, they call the paid staff the lay leadership, no, the professional staff, and then they call the board lay leadership.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
But you know, you can't make it as a not-for-profit organization, no matter if you're a religious organization or community service or artistic, without fantastic people who love what you do
Right.
and are advocates for you in every way. And that means making sure that, you know, we have enough contributed income, making sure that we have enough friends, making sure that we, you know, you bring friends to the theater and that the theater is vital and has people in the seats. I mean, it's all sort of a package deal with making sure that, that you're lively and that you are regenerating yourself for, you know, different generations, and you are culturally and ethnically diverse, you know, in every way. So your board members are they're just critical.
Yeah.
So they have to love what you do first.
Right.
That's the first quality of a board member, is that you have to love the organization, what it does.
That's right.
You know, so yeah,
Deep-
so I do.
deep-
I love
believe
every.
in it deeply, yes.
You do, and
I would say, but they have to go out and raise money for you, don't they?
well, to some extent. I mean, you call it friend-raising and fundraising,
Yeah.
and you know, and they also are.
They all
Have to create
wonderful-
goodwill,
They
you
have
know?
wonderful Rolodexes, these people. I mean, it's an old-fashioned term, Rolodex, but.
Yeah, I know. I think I said Rolodex to one of my young staff people, and they went,
what?
"What?
Yeah.
What's that?" I know.
But
Then never
this-
mind.
So CAST, so how is that
Well,
developed?
CAST is wonderful, and CAST is a group of young people, both at Capital Rep and at Proctor's, who serve as ushers and as volunteers for us in a variety of different ways. And you'll see them as ushers because they'll wear a T-shirt that says CAST.
Okay.
You know, and they can call up. There's a volunteer number that they can call. They can also email someone named Catherine Stevens at proctors.org, and they will be assigned a performance, and you
I
know,
see.
and given all of these goodies.
Uh-huh.
And it's really important to have young people around. I mean,
Okay.
you know, the arts can die without that.
Well, as we're speaking, you also have a little bit of a tragedy going on in your building.
We
And I
do.
want to end it because maybe this will spur some,
Oh.
you know, something. But let's talk about, you have a flood going on.
We did. We have had a flood the past week, and we had wonderful response workers who have been working diligently. We had a little bit of vandalism. The pipes in the building that we're a part of.
Have copper pipes.
They were copper pipes, and some thieves tried to steal them. And when they went to grab them out, they broke a big water vein in our lobby. And so our lobby, our rehearsal hall, our whole backstage, our costume shop downstairs were all terribly flooded. And so the response team has been there, and we're working step by step to make sure that, you know, we're ready and everything is dried out and taken care of. And today when I left them, we have actually dried out over the last 3 days, and they were able to replace one of the walls that had to come down.
And
so
then the carpeting, right? You have the
carpeting's all,
flooring?
right.
Right.
It's all,
I mean, that's expensive.
yes, it's very expensive.
But you don't take it, you know, they don't give it to you on credit, you know.
They
You have
don't give
pay.
it to you on
Do
credit.
Do you have this in your budget where you can, or is this a, no,
No.
or is this an insurance issue? Where the insurance pays?
Eventually, it will be covered, I'm sure, most of it by insurance, but, you know, like in everything, not everything is covered. And when I looked at the things that we lost this time, like we lost our educational library. And, not all the books can be on digital, but we have a lot of stuff on digital.
But still.
But we had a lot of books.
Hard
And we
copy.
had these books that had been donated to us by Scholastic Book Company for our production of, it's a Harriet Tubman play. It's about Harriet Tubman, And we give and when we do that show, we give them to the elementary schools. All of them were ruined. So, and so you look at things like that, and it's like, you never get that back.
Yeah,
it's
it's
heartbreaking.
See, the show must go on, though. That's,
Show must go on.
on
You
that
said
note
it.
over here, that's a good note to end.
Everybody is singing over there. Janis Joplin,
Right.
they're all there. They're all singing. The rehearsal hall is
Well,
all
hopefully
recarpeted.
hopefully this will help you with, some more fundraising or fundraising, and maybe,
well-
people will see the need, and they'll have a purpose for wanting.
Well,
to
you're
help
right.
out.
Well, I hope that nobody has to, I hope we look beautiful by the time we open. And I don't know, maybe I should keep a little diary about this,
You
because
should.
the last week has been pretty, interesting,
Horrid.
stressful.
Horrid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In any case, we're out of time, and the half hour went very
Oh
fast.
my gosh, I can't believe it.
And we just want to wish you a lot of success and no more tragedies, and you should be very successful in all your
Thank you so
Business,
much,
thank you.
Rabbi. I
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Much
Thank you,
success.
Mark.